Hello and welcome to I Am Geek, and this is episode 110. I'm Ryan. I'm here with my brother Dusty Buns and my good pal Catron. How you guys doing tonight?
Swell. Turn around. Look what you can. Oh, sorry.
If you don't know that reference, then you haven't watched Stranger Things 3, season 3. But don't worry, because we're not actually talking about Stranger Things 3 today. I just wanted to call my brother Dusty Buns. We will in the future.
Like the good old days.
Yeah.
I prefer Dusty Bottoms.
Yeah. Can you name the other two?
Ned Niederlander.
Yep.
And Lucky Day.
There you go. And that, of course, is the Three Amigos. Which has another great song in it. My Little Buttercup. Go ahead.
There you go.
Finish it out.
Smile.
Smile. Smile. Tonight, though, we are talking about all things Spider-Man. And if you aren't excited about that,
keep listening.
Keep listening, because you will be excited by the end of this. We are not going to go into spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home. This is going to sort of set up that episode. Catron has not seen it yet, so we don't want to spoil it for him, because I'm sure he's going to see it any day now.
Any day now.
Mm-hmm. He's got a free movie ticket, so I don't know.
I just don't have free time.
Why is that?
No, we don't want to go into that. I can't talk about that.
Mystery.
It's a mystery. So hopefully that will be coming soon. But tonight we thought, hey, maybe some of our listeners don't know much about Spider-Man. They've seen him in some of the Marvel movies, and that's all they've seen him in. And Chris is an expert.
Catron is an expert. That's true.
No.
He's our local.
He said Chris.
Our resident expert on all things comics. He's read every single comic.
Wow.
Ever.
Really? I did not know that either.
Have you seen the? You probably haven't seen There's a series on YouTube where they take actors into comic book stores and they pick out comic books for them to read. So, like, they just did one for Jake Gyllenhaal, which is Far From Home, and they take him in and they just sort of do an interview in the comic stores. They peruse the comics. It's pretty cool. You'd like it, Chris. I want you to do that for me. I want you to take me to a comic book store and be like, oh, I think this would interest you, and here's why. This is the background of this.
We're heading straight to the My Little Pony section.
We are geeks. We did learn that
Captain Underpants.
We did learn that My Little Pony is for geeks from Stranger Things 3. Anyways,
it is. It's true.
This is not a Stranger Things 3 episode.
Might as well be.
Get it all away.
All right, let's turn around and get to Spider-Man. Wrong song.
Oh, sorry.
Anyways, so Spider-Man, depends on what part of the country you're from.
Does it?
Really?
Really?
Do people really say that?
Is that just you?
It's just me, pretty much. So I didn't know. I did a little. Boop, 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 boop. We haven't used that one in a while. Research.
You did some beats.
Oh. It's breaking news.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize that. That basically the original Spider-Man story, the first one, was just intended for like a one-shot. It wasn't intended to be a series. Did you know this?
Yeah. Well, Stan Lee had come up with the character, and his editor was like, no one wants to read about a bug person or whatever. That's stupid. And then it came up to where they needed like a filler thing. And he's just
an amazing fantasy comic book series that was going down the toilet, right?
Yep. And so he's like, I just go do that story or whatever. So he did it, and it blew up from there.
And the rest is what they say is history.
History.
But he used the thought balloons. That's how he sort of worked around Spider-Man sort of being alone. He used the thought balloons to basically Spider-Man having conversations with himself type thing, which is pretty cool. So that was sort of a new thing, I guess. And now Deadpool does it. Use the same kind of thing, but to the reader.
He uses little yellow boxes where he talks to himself.
Yeah, I don't read comics.
Yeah, I don't read.
I don't read. Oh, that reminded me of, I'm getting off track now. If you haven't, this is just, I'm going to stick in a what you streaming. If you have not watched Holy Moly, do yourself a favor and watch Holy Moly.
I love Holy Moly.
It's like my favorite show on TV right now. It's like miniature golf meets Wipeout. And there was one of the golfers on there, like one of his accomplishments was that he's only read one book his whole entire life. And they were just giving it to him. It was just so funny. Anyways, go watch Holy Moly if you want a good laugh. Just a good, stupid laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So, with great power comes great responsibility. Was sort of the kickoff. It sort of sums up. That's the line that Uncle Ben gives to Peter, and sort of has become Peter Parker's life, basically.
Which has yet to be spoken in the new Spider-Man movies for some reason.
Oh, well, there's a reason for that. I'm okay with them not having that in there.
I mean, they like dance around it, though.
Well,
they like say things
yeah,
it's similar. It's just like, just say it. If you're just,
I feel like that part of his life is past because they sort of didn't put in the whole Uncle Ben part. Like that part is already gone. It's happened, so they don't have flashbacks of him going, "With great power comes great responsibility."
It's a good impression.
Yeah, so,
yeah. It's like I was there watching Uncle Ben die.
Oh, wait, he dies?
It was the rice. They spill the rice.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he goes on. So the Spider-Man comic book series goes on, and they put Spider-Man with Fantastic Four. Right?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, this was the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was his very first supervillain, the Chameleon.
Which that was hinted at in Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Chameleon?
Possibly. Like, they never really confirmed that. There is a character called Dimitri, who is like the half-brother or something like that of Kraven the Hunter, which I would love to see Kraven in a movie. It'd be great.
Somebody said that they there was a scene that was cut. You saw it in the trailers of him fighting the mob people.
Yes.
And there was a guy that was strung up that was all in like cheetah print or something. You only see from behind. But it wasn't Kraven, but they were like, "Oh, it's Kraven." But it looked like sort of like what he would wear, but it was probably just a mob guy. But supposedly that's going to be a whole short that's going to be in the Blu-ray. They're making a short out of that part of it. Sort of all the stuff that leads up to where we're at in the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I've been watching a lot of Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal interviews because they are freaking hilarious together in interviews.
They are good.
And Jake Gyllenhaal is amazing. He's just so funny.
Well, why don't you marry him?
Oh, maybe I will. Or maybe I will.
Yikes.
Not. No.
Hey.
I loved him in that. What was that movie? October Sky.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Brokeback Mountain.
You know,
Catron's favorite.
Wrong. Well, yeah, that was I think the first movie I remember seeing him in. But he was he had this funny Southern accent that cracked me up. But I love that movie. It's good.
Can't forget that he was Bubble Boy.
That's right. I did forget.
Did you see the meme where it's out Bubble Boy and it's got Mysterio? I'm like, this is what happened when Bubble Boy grew up.
Yeah.
His bubble just shrunk down
Bubble
to his
shrunk.
head.
Perfect.
Anyways,
Yeah.
we'll talk about Far From Home a little bit. We won't give spoilers, but stay tuned because at the end of this episode, we're going to have story time with Catron, which is everybody's favorite corner of the podcast. And
So I'm so good at it.
he is going to tell his version of Spider-Man Far From Home. Even though he hasn't seen the movie, he's going to tell the plot and what all happens. So who knows? There could be spoilers in there.
It could be unintentional.
Unintentionally, but maybe not. And go back and listen. We did talk about the first... we had an episode about Spider-Man Far From Home when the trailer first hit. And I think we got some stuff right in that one. I have to go back and listen again.
We might have got stuff wrong.
Yeah.
We might have got a whole lot wrong.
I think we got some stuff right, though, if I remember correctly.
It seems like we might have touched on some things that was at least close.
At least close, yeah.
Wow.
Psychics. But so if you don't know the very backstory of Peter Parker, student in high school bitten by a radioactive spider, like you do. They're all over the place. While he's on a field trip with school.
Yes.
Doesn't really think anything of it. Wakes up the next day with these amazing powers. I thought we could go sort of through the powers. Do you know them? I've got them right here. If you don't know them right offhand, but I'm sure Chris knows them.
He's got the proportionate strength, speed, and agility of a spider. He can cling to walls, walk on walls. He
sense danger.
He has his spider sense.
Peter Tingle? What? I mean...
his webbing isn't actually a power of his. That's from his sciencey brain. He made that in his web shooters.
Yeah. There was one version that he had webbing, right?
The Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, I was going to say Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
movies.
Because for some reason they're like, oh no, you can believe that this guy's got powers and everything, can do all this stuff. But I don't think you can believe that he's smart enough to make this stuff. So we're going to give it to him organically, and which is fine. Like it worked.
It was weird though, because that's watching the cartoons. That's what I remembered is that he had these cartridges he would put in, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Out of web fluid.
Did he? Yeah. Did he have a scientist that he was working with though that developed them for him?
No, he developed it on his own.
Okay. For some reason, I remembered like he was working with somebody that helped
in
him.
the Andrew Garfield movies. It was like I think part of like his dad had started.
Yeah, something like that.
Started it and he finished it.
Yeah.
But in the comics, like after the movies were popular, they changed him in the comics where he mutated at one point and actually shot his own webs
out of his rear end, or like a
spider.
Just like a spider.
That's from the Venture Brothers. There's a man spider in Venture Brothers who is voiced by Nathan Fillion.
Oh,
and yeah, he's got webbing that comes out of his butt.
Well, let's. I was just being silly. Well, let's go in. So we'll start with web slinging because I've got a bunch of facts here about it. Hey,
hey, facts.
So supposedly, now this is supposedly it's a comic book, so yeah, of course. The pressure in Spider-Man's web cartridges is enough to propel a single strand of webbing up to 50 yards. That's pretty cool. But thicker strands and more complex web patterns can't reach nearly as far. So the single webs can go up to 50 yards. Each of his web shooters have 10 cartridges. You didn't know that. I don't know. And each cartridge contains approximately 1,000 yards of a single strand of webbing. That's a lot for one of those little cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
The web begins to harden the instant it's exposed to air. You thought this out. Given enough time and sufficient thickness, one strand could even bind the Incredible Hulk and hold him prisoner.
What?
Although it's hard to imagine the Hulk standing still while Spidey applies the necessary webbing. Spidey's normal webbing can withstand temperatures of 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It melts, but it's never caught on fire.
Yeah, it eventually dissolves on its own.
Yeah. So if he knows he's going to be fighting somebody like the Human Torch, he can pack a webbing which resists temperatures of up to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It can only be released in strands that are as thick as clotheslines. Good gracious! But that cartridge only has 10 yards. So.
Oh well.
So that's crazy because I always wondered like how much does he have on him at a time? So if he has 10 cartridges on him,
well, he's got the cartridges that he put into his web shooters, and then he's got like a belt underneath his like shirt that has spare cartridges.
Underneath his tight suit.
Yeah, underneath his tight suit.
You know that
it has spare cartridges.
Tom Holland, for his costume, he had to wear a thong the whole time.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know that. I saw that Zendaya is actually afraid of his Spider-Man suit because it's so hard to get out of that she's afraid he'll be sick one day, start vomiting in his suit, and basically drown in his own vomit.
It doesn't.
Lovely.
It's all one piece, is what I saw. So
yeah,
he can move his eyepiece, and they stick a straw down it, so he can drink water out through his eyepiece, which is weird.
Oh. I've seen people shoot milk out of their eye ducts. It's like this sinus thing. It's like the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
I like that on David Letterman's.
Yeah, that's what it was. Show. It was on David Letterman. Yeah. Oh, that's so gross.
So since we're talking about costumes, let's talk about costumes. He's had many different costumes in the movies, especially and the comics. What was his first costume, Chris?
His first costume, if I remember right, is just his traditional red and blue with the webbing and like the kind of bug eyes. I think he was originally drawn with the webs underneath his arms. Which you like that was kind of on and off depending on the artist. Like they would draw it or not draw it, just kind of what they wanted to do. And the webbing under the arms, I don't think really ever had any significance to the costume necessarily. It never really did anything. Later, like in the Tom Holland movies, you could see they were used for gliding when jumping for far distances.
Like flying squirrels?
Yes.
Not flying spiders. Okay.
Not flying spiders. Flying squirrels. But yeah, that was I'm pretty sure that was his kind of original. The Tobey Maguire movies, like he had one that was like just like a spray painted spider on it and a ski mask.
Yeah,
that he was in the wrestling.
It was cool. Yeah, showed the different iterations, I guess, that he tried to come up with or whatever.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield had his made by Nike. It looked like to me at least.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Tom Holland, he had like the
sweatsuit thing.
The sweatsuit type thing that he made.
Yeah. Which is funny because his pretty much in most of the Spider-Man comics and stuff and movies and video games, because the suit is so tight, he can't wear clothes underneath it. So he always like keeps it in a backpack, and then he has to put the backpack somewhere when he changes. And he easily either loses the backpack or just doesn't go back and get it.
Yeah, they'll like web it up on a wall, high on a wall somewhere.
Which is funny. I'm playing the PS4 game right now,
Huh.
and which is really fun. I like it a lot. But they have that in there. You're like going around the city looking for stuff, and then you come across one of his backpacks and goes, "Oh man, this is from high school." And he like takes it down, and then that starts like side missions where you can find his backpacks that he's left behind throughout the city.
Huh.
It's got stuff in it that earns you like points and stuff. Which the Spider-Man costume, and that's pretty cool. It's got like the spider on the front is white and on the back is white, and explains why they do that. Like in that game, spoilers if you don't want to know about a video game, but I don't know, it's a video game.
It's been out so long.
Yeah, he works. He works with Dr. Octavius. That's who his boss is in the video game, and he goes in one night to work on a suit because it's all messed up from a fight. And Dr. Octavius, he's not Doc Ock yet, walks in on him, and he sees the suit, and he goes, "Peter, why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Oh, I really wanted to. I'm so sorry." He goes, "Why didn't you tell me that you are the guy that designs all the tech for Spider-Man?" And he's like, "Oh, I know, I just want to be a help." He goes, "That is such a big help. You're helping the city by using your brain and stuff." And then he sends him something later on, and Doc Ock is the guy that designs the suit in the game. It's really cool. He's like, the white is because he gives this like big thing about the scientists did this research about things that distract people's like vision and stuff, and having these kind of colors will distract them for a moment to give you a heads up or a head start to attack them and stuff. And it's pretty cool how they did it. So I'm looking forward to see where they go with it because I just sort of started it, but it's a fun game. I've already taken down Kingpin. That's the first guy you take down. So that was fun. But you should check it out, especially Chris. You'd like it. And the mechanics of the game are like very smooth, very easy. Like on some of those older games, it was hard to control him swinging through the city and stuff. But this one's very smooth and easy.
Smooth and easy.
Smooth and easy. And you have they just added the costumes. They added the costumes from the new movie, so you can change into those and stuff, which is pretty cool. So you can.
That's cool. At one point in the comics, Dr. Octopus actually jumps into Peter Parker's brain because his body's dying, and takes over being Peter Parker for quite a while and becomes the superior Spider-Man. Wow. And he makes a new costume. It has like all these enhanced abilities and everything, and he basically is like, I'm going to be the superior version of Spider-Man. I'm going to show that I could be better than him. And it's got like spider arms like the Iron Spider has, and enhanced lenses, talons, all kinds of stuff.
So let's backtrack to just the rest of his powers. I did read that, as you said, his strength is proportional to a spider, but actually this thing says it's actually a lot more powerful. And I guess he can lift almost 10 tons, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's definitely stronger. That's just one of the things I always said in the comics or whatever. Like the proportionate strength of a spider. I'm like, he seems stronger than that.
Yeah. So he's not as strong as Hulk or Thor or the Thing, but he's up there pretty much, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. And then this was interesting because I'd always wondered about the wall crawling. Like, how does he crawl all over the place with like shoes on and gloves on? And but this is talking about how it's thought to be more like biomagnetic power that allows him to increase the attraction between the molecules in his body with those of the surface that he climbs on.
That's cool.
So this is something that Peter Parker has often theorized. Supposedly, that's what it says. So that's how it works. So it's not like in was it Tobey Maguire movies where all these little hairs come out and he's like clinging to stuff.
Yeah,
which didn't make sense to me because I'm like, he's wearing shoes and gloves and stuff. So.
The really, really long hairs on his feet.
Yeah. So this makes more sense to me that it's like this same with his molecules, the attraction with
Mm-hmm.
the surface, the biomagnetic. That makes more sense to me, anyways. Right?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. So that's it. We
I
solved that.
I, I believe it.
I believe it. And then, of course, the spider sense is like his personal radar. Basically, senses stuff around him. Which I didn't know this though. He can't sense carnage and he can't sense venom.
He can't sense. So it started with Venom because he wore the symbiote, and the symbiote knows how to counteract it basically. And so when it went to Eddie Brock, he could sneak up on Spider-Man. Carnage can do the same thing because Carnage is like a spawn of Venom. The other symbiotes, I don't think. I don't. I think those are fine. There may be some other spawned ones from Venom though that you can't sense. I'm not sure. But yeah, when he had the Venom costume, that would produce its own webbing.
Yeah. So it says it's like a Geiger counter that reacts to danger. This is cool. It says the spider sense tingles if someone can see the web slinger out of costume, warning that he may, like, so if he's changing or something like that. That's pretty cool. So it causes him to, it makes him dodge and all that stuff.
Except for bananas.
I thought you're Peter Tingle. And of course, he's had a crazy life or time as Spider-Man. He's fallen in love, lost love. Basically, the moral of the story is nothing ever works out for Spider-Man. Pretty much, right?
Yeah, he may win the battle, but he may not win the war, type thing. Like he may defeat the villain, but then his life in general kind of takes a nosedive.
Yeah, which is, we won't give spoilers, but I watched a video of Kevin Smith talking about Far From Home. He always does these reviews, but basically he just tells the whole story of the movie and then tells what he thinks about it, and they're always really good. But he said, he said they got me, because I wanted the happy high school story, but it's Spider-Man. He doesn't ever get really the happy ending.
No.
That everybody wants him to have. Which I know in the comics, I think when he gets older in the comics, I guess him and Mary Jane, did they get married, but then that ends and
there's a lot of weirdness with that. Yeah, they get married. They're married for a while. He makes a deal with the devil Mephisto for the life of his aunt, and in exchange for that, he wants to take the relationship away from him and Mary Jane, so that gets erased from history. It's weird. There's a lot of weirdness. Yeah, I think they eventually get back together. I think they're back together now. There's a lot of.
So, what's a great superhero without great villains? And Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a lot of villains, right?
Yes, he does. In comic books, I think probably Batman has the best villains, but Spider-Man's probably pretty close behind that because he's got a lot of really good villains too.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
My favorite Spider-Man villain, a lot of people probably wouldn't consider a villain necessarily. But if you look at the comic book history, he's definitely a Spider-Man villain. It's J. Jonah Jameson.
It's funny because I pulled up a list of all the Spider-Man villains, and he was like number 3.
Yeah, because in the comics, he absolutely hates Spider-Man. He actually funds a lot of the villains and creates them basically. From Mysterio to Scorpion to the Spider Slayers. He's constantly putting it out in the news and everything, how horrible Spider-Man is, and really kind of deters him from doing his job type thing. And he's just a fun character. He's just ridiculous.
I mean, after this last movie, I mean, I think Mysterio is right up there for me.
Mysterio's cool. I've always liked Mysterio.
Yeah, I like that fishbowl head.
Yeah,
And of course,
all the uh, mirages and everything that he creates for Spider-Man is always really interesting. His his outfit is just like the oddest outfit, but it's so funny. And he's a powerful villain in the Old Man Logan comic book series. Spoiler if you haven't read that. And,
I have not.
well, you're going to be spoiled. Well, you don't read anyway. So you find like it takes place in the future. Most of the heroes are dead, and you find out what happened to the X-Men, and it's actually Mysterio tricked Wolverine into thinking that all these villains were attacking him. So Wolverine went into this berserker rage and started killing all of them, but then realized it was actually all the X-Men. Like Mysterio made the X-Men look like they were villains attacking him, and so Wolverine ended up killing all his friends, which is crazy. But yeah, he's I like him. In the comics, he's just a stunt man who gets a hold of this technology and does all this stuff. But it's fun.
And of course, Venom. I mean, he's right up there.
Venom is great. Like Venom, took on a life of his own almost. Like he's an arch enemy of Spider-Man, but he's kind of become an anti-hero.
Yeah,
it's like pretty much like the Punisher. So he's kind of elevated a little bit from other villains. Dr. Octopus is always good. And the fact that he can take such a beating for just being a person with mechanical arms has always amazed me. I think at one point, I think that's why he's dying, is that he's taken too many hits from all these like powerful superheroes, and he's just a human being, and his body's just giving out on him.
I guess we can't talk about Spider-Man villains unless we talk about the ultimate team-up of Spider-Man villains, which is the Sinister Six.
Yes.
Which began in 1964, way, way long ago. I was not alive then.
Oh, I was. What do you
mean? What? Huh? And the original Sinister Six, which I hope that they are going to do something with the movies. I don't know if they will. Feige, how do you say his name? Kevin Feige?
Feige?
Feige? I think.
Feige?
Yes. I don't know. Depends on where you're from.
Spiderman
has teased that for the next Spider-Man movie, they're going to do something that they've never done before in the movies. Which, haven't they already done that with the last two movies? But
every movie, that's what they hopefully do.
Yeah, so I don't know.
It's something they've never done before.
I hope they set up the Sinister Six somewhere, somehow. But that may be down the road. If Marvel keeps the rights to having Spider-Man in their movies, I guess there's a deal in the contract with Sony that I don't think there's going to be any problem, but it has to make so much money for Marvel to keep using him.
Yeah.
And if the movie doesn't make a certain amount of money, then Sony gets him back, which I hope that doesn't happen, because Sony will just ruin what's been done, pretty much, right?
Yep. Pretty much.
So hopefully. But so the original Sinister Six was Dr. Octopus, Vulture, Mysterio, Electro, Sandman, Kraven the Hunter.
Yes.
Which was the original lineup that first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1. So there you go. So this is sort of like the top bad guys of Spider-Man, which we've seen Mysterio. We've seen the Vulture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only ones we've seen of these first two movies. Or these.
Yeah. In the Tom Holland movies, that's the only ones we've seen.
Yeah.
We've yet to get a Doctor Octopus, Electro. We kind of got a Sandman.
Not yeah, oh, yeah.
But
No spoilers.
You watch the movie and you'll know why.
Yeah. But there have been in the movies. They've had Sandman, they've had Doctor Octopus, they've had Electro. The only one that of the first Sinister Six that they haven't done in the movies is Craven, right?
Yeah, and I would love for them to have Craven in the next one.
That would be cool.
Which we can talk more about later.
But then, then the '90s, it switched from those six to Doctor Octopus, Vulture, Mysterio, Electro, Sandman, the Hobgoblin, and somebody named Gog. Who's Gog?
Gog.
Yeah.
Gog.
I only see a picture of Gog. Who's Gog?
You
don't know either.
Everybody knows Gog.
Yeah, Brian, come on. It's Gog.
Chris doesn't know Gog.
Oh my Gog. Come on.
So it's funny, the Hobgoblin, actually, it's not a spoiler because they don't really say it in the movies, but the guy that plays Peter's best friend in these newest movies is the Hobgoblin, right?
At one point he is a Hobgoblin. I think he's like drugged or something into being him, the original Hobgoblin. I think, if I'm remembering this right, in order to throw people off that it wasn't him, he drugs Ned, puts him in the costume, and has him go out and be the Hobgoblin. And then when they uncover his mask, take his mask off, it ends up being him. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
I don't know. I just saw an interview, and he's like,
the Hob.
Yeah. Somebody asked, "Oh, Gog's a monster alien giant." Oh, there we go.
Yeah, Roy Thomas and Gil Kane are both Gog.
Oh, gosh. Anyways, I saw an interview, and they asked the actor that plays his best friend, which I forget the actor's name. He goes, "Do you think, are you going to be the Hobgoblin?" And he's like, "Oh, I'd love to, but I just don't see that guy being the Hobgoblin."
No. We'd have to do some. I don't know.
I
do like the Hobgoblin, though.
Yeah.
In the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, the Hobgoblin was voiced by Mark Hamill.
Ah. Yeah, it switched over to in '95. Doc Ock is still there. He's still hanging out at the Sinister Six, but he's got Chameleon, Mysterio still there, Scorpion, Rhino, Shocker, and Vulture. So Chameleon joins the crew. And Shocker.
Shocker's one I've never really been that. I don't know, just Shocker, he shocks things.
He looks Shocker looks like somebody that would be in G.I. Joe. His costume, he looks like somebody that would be in G.I. Joe cartoons. That's just me. I've always heard that. It does. It's like one of those random G.I. Joe, figures that you had. It's like, oh,
yeah. To me, Shocker is just a lesser Electro.
Yeah,
Electro is the better of the two, and they should have gave him the big star mask. The Andrew Garfield movies.
In '95, for 1 year. Well, no, in '95 they got rid of Doc Ock. He's like not with them. Oh, it's because he died.
Of course.
So it's Hobgoblin, Vulture, Mysterio, Electro, Beetle, Shocker, and Scorpia. Scorpia. Who's that?
Scorpio.
But in 1999, Doc Ock is back, and Vulture and Mysterio, Electro, Chameleon, and somebody named Pity.
Well, Pity. Yeah. Eventually, all the big names have been in it. Like in the cartoons, Green Goblin was a part of it, I think, at one point. Hydro Man has been a part of it. Venom I think, has been an incarnation of it.
In '99, that's the final one: Venom, Sandman, Vulture, Electro, Mysterio, Imposter, and Kraven's son.
Yes. Who's the new Kraven the Hunter now, I believe, in the comics.
So there's another Mysterio that's
died.
a different Mysterio, I guess.
Mysterious.
Oh wait, there's more. This keeps going. Oh, we're not going through all these.
Oh yeah, they've got so many different incarnations of that.
Pretty much, it's all the same, and they usually throw in some random.
My favorite's Gog. I don't know.
What about the Living Brain in 2013?
Isn't that just everybody?
Man, that one's weird. Okay, this. We'll just do this one. 2013 had Boomerang, Shocker, Speed Demon, Beetle Replacement, Overdrive, Living Brain. Okay. They didn't last long though, because they immediately changed to a different one in 2013 to include the Lizard, Green Goblin, Vulture, Hydro Man. And then the final one that I have on the list is 2014: Doc Ock, Vulture, Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, and Rhino.
There you go.
Oh. So I hope we see that in some form at some time.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I think I'd love for them to do one more, just like maybe just one villain or possibly two focus, and then do a Sinister Six. I would like that.
Yeah. Or it would even be cool if they did it right. They'd have to do it right. Sort of like what they did with the Venom movie. Make a Sinister Six movie about how that all forms. And just sort of have Spider-Man in the background, you know?
Yeah.
That would be sort of
They
cool.
supposedly have a Kraven the Hunter movie that they're trying to do.
Oh, really?
That may involve Spider-Man. Yeah.
Before we get to story time with Catron, or Catron's story corner, or I don't know, we'll figure out something later.
He's been prepping this whole time.
Yeah, before we get that, I thought we could really fast sort of give our basically there's 8 movies if you count Into the Spider-Verse. We are not going to count Venom because I don't count that as a Spider-Man movie. No. I thought we could sort of go through our list of our, rank them in order of what we think is the best to the worst, or from the worst to the best, whichever way we want to do it, of the cinematic Spider-Man movies. So we're not going to count like TV shows and
not the one from 1978, the spinoff.
No, I don't count that one. I mean, you could count it if you want to.
No.
But, so basically, the Sam Raimi movies, right? And then you had the Garfield movies, for lack of a better.
Garfield. I love that cat.
And then you had the 2 Tom Holland, and then Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, little known fact: the Garfield ones were actually voiced by Bill Murray.
Stupid.
Wah, wah, wah.
Whatever. He does it all.
You didn't know that, did you?
I didn't.
No. Learn something new. Anyways. So, Chris, do you have your lineup? Do you want to give us? He's like, no, not really.
It's hard. I'm getting them all in front of me so I don't forget any of them. Because it's easy to do. Well, I could probably say my least favorite one would be Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi one. Because that was just a hot mess. Like Sam Raimi just
wasn't that the tagline of the movie? Spider-Man 3, the hot mess.
Yeah,
the hot mess. No.
Yeah, it was so bad.
If you don't think that movie is bad, if you don't, go on YouTube and type into the old YouTube machine Spider-Man 3 dance scene. Just type that in. It should come up, and then watch that, and then tell us that. Try to tell us that it's not.
Then after you watch that, type in Spider-Man 3 dance scene without music.
Yes.
And that's hilarious.
And if you also want to see how Venom should not be done, check out Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3.
So yeah, so if I'm starting from the bottom, it would be Spider-Man 3. Then up one from that would probably be The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
And then up from that would probably be Amazing Spider-Man. Then going one more up would probably be that one's hard. Might go actually the original Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi one. And
Okay.
then going up from there would be Spider-Man Homecoming. Up from there be Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi. Then Spider-Man Far From Home, and then Spider-Verse.
Okay.
That's probably what I would do.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Catron?
Yes, that sounds.
What's your favorite Spider-Man movie, Catron?
I think probably the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, that first one.
Okay.
I think that's probably my favorite one. I don't know. I just like that one a lot. So
Yeah.
I saw Spider-Verse, by the way, a couple weeks ago. I did like it.
It's good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was good.
It's very
I just
good.
don't consider that the same type of movie. I don't know. I mean, it is different.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Would
but I
you
liked it.
do you agree that Spider-Man 3 is the worst Spider-Man movie of this list?
Probably so. I think I actually own it. I'm trying to think, or maybe I just own the first one.
I think I owned the first two, and
Yeah.
then the third one when it came out to
Because they changed.
DVD or whatever. I was like, no.
Yeah, they changed
Yeah, I never
actors,
got it.
right? So it just was weird.
No, it had the same.
Oh, it had the same. What was?
Yeah,
They just like the story was so dumb.
Can't
and
remember.
just like
yeah.
The Sandman was in that one, right? Is that the one I'm thinking?
Yeah,
of?
it had Sandman, it had Venom. Like basically the
skinny
the
Venom.
studio,
Yeah.
the Sony wanted one thing, Sam Raimi wanted another, and then Sam Raimi was just like, well, screw it, I'm just gonna make a horrible movie. Basically, I think is what happened.
Spider-Man gets the symbiote suit, and then he gets all I'm the bad guy, or like I'm the
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, I'm
I
gonna go
remember that.
dance, It's
Yeah.
just like,
Becomes
what?
emo.
Yeah, emo Spider is.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they retcon it to where like the Sandman was the person that actually killed his Uncle Ben,
Right.
Yeah,
which
Yeah.
was weird.
yeah, it was just a hot mess. That's the only way to describe it. Just a hot
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah.
So that would be my bottom. I liked Garfield as Spider-Man.
I didn't see those, so I don't.
I liked him as Spider-Man. I didn't like him as Peter Parker.
Oh, really?
Or maybe I did.
I liked
Yeah.
him as Spider-Man because he played it very cocky, like sort of Spider-Man was,
Yeah. See, I think Tobey Maguire pulled off Peter Parker,
Right.
Yeah,
and Andrew Garfield pulled off Spider-Man.
yeah. So they should just
Sure.
combine them.
Yes.
So I liked that, and I really loved Emma Stone in.
Yes, Gwen Stacy.
As Gwen
Yeah,
Stacy.
she was good.
So those parts I liked him as Spider-Man, and I liked her as Gwen Stacy. I wasn't a big fan of Electro
No,
at all.
it was weird. They made him like a obsessed fan.
Yeah.
It was odd choice to do.
To tell you the truth, everybody says Spider-Man 2 is like the best, but or like up there. I don't know. I mean, it's
Out of the
okay.
Sam Raimi ones, that's my favorite one.
I like the original one. But for my top 3, it would have to be Homecoming. Well, 3, 2, 1. We'll do that. So the third would be Homecoming. Second would be Spider-Verse. And I mean, Far From Home I loved it. It's
It was really good.
It was I think it's my favorite Spider-Man anything. I loved that it was. I thought they caught all the aspects of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be a teenager, but he knows he has this power, and that battle's going on through the whole movie. Looking for a mentor type thing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're going with just live action movies, that's my top one.
Yeah.
But if you throw in Spider-Verse was just so unique and just so fun.
Yeah, I loved it. That's why it's 2 for me.
Yeah. It kind of shoots it up there.
I want to watch it again because it's on Netflix now. So I'll watch it again. But Far From Home, I was just, and then like, I'm not going to spoil but the end credit scenes made it that much better. It was already like great and wonderful, and it made it so much better. It was that was the first end credit scenes where I was like, both of them. I was just like, what the heck are they doing? Like they just blew the MCU wide open.
That first end credit scene actually made me emote out loud.
What did you emote?
Which one did you poop?
No, I basically just went yes.
Yeah, it was.
I would just say you said yes out loud.
No, I emoted out loud. I emoted unlike what the Lion King live action can do.
Oh gosh,
not live action.
It's not live action.
I saw the last trailer for that, and then we'll get back to Spider-Man. But where they have Pumbaa and Timon talking, and singing, and stuff.
They look horrible.
It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
I knew this was going to happen. Yeah, we can get back to Spider-Man, but I knew this was going to happen because, like, all the previews, you never saw them talking.
Yeah.
Like none of them. I was like, oh crap! They went too realistic. It's going to go uncanny valley. Like
it was horrible.
That the animals, they're not meant to emote like humans.
Yeah.
And you put voice coming through it, it's going to look weird. And it looked weird. It looks horrible.
Oh yeah, that trailer creeped me out. It was just like, oh gosh, what in the world? Because it's got this like realistic looking meerkat going, Hakuna Matata, it's a wonderful thing. And you're just like, what is going on? Oh, it's so creepy looking.
The lions are even worse than that.
Yeah, it's just like, Anyway, sorry. So I will not be going to see that in the theater.
It's already gotten 59% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. So
good.
Yeah.
Disney, you need to quit. Okay, just go find some people with original ideas. I know why you're doing it to make money, but anyways, back to Spider-Man. So Far From Home to me was the perfect straight up Spider-Man movie, and it was so funny. Like the comedy, they had the comedy was perfect. I loved the inclusion of a bigger role for Happy Hogan.
Yeah, that was good.
It was great. It's just like in them traveling to all over Europe. I thought was really cool, and just the Peter Tingle. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, you don't want to beat the Peter Tingle.
You do not want to beat the Peter Tingle.
Oh.
He had another line in the movie that was very PG-13, I guess you would say. When he's talking about his suit, and he's like, yeah, it's sort of really tight around the old web shooter. You're like, oh, okay, we're going to go there.
He's a high school student.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Right.
But yeah, I can't wait to do an episode and really go through it all. It may be until it comes out on Netflix or whatever. But we are going to do an episode. I know you're busy, and I'm not saying anything against you. I'm just saying
he's blaming you.
There have been episodes that we've said that we were going to do, like the Bandersnatch thing, and it may or may not have ever happened. I don't know. But this is one that
it may have happened, but then we went back and undid it.
Yeah.
But this is one that I want to talk about because before, especially before this movie, I've always been sort of a Spider-Man fan, but this movie made me like want to be a super fan and like learn everything there is about Spider-Man because I just loved the movie so much. It ranks up for me personal. For other people, maybe not. It ranks up as one of the top MCU movies.
Ooh, that
Wow.
means I have to read some stuff.
What? What'd you say?
So that means you might have to read some things.
I know it makes me want to read it too because I don't know. It was like, especially after Endgame, because Endgame. You haven't seen it yet, then gosh, come on. That was
I even saw that one.
yeah
Before you all did. Well, no, Chris and I saw it.
Especially this movie after coming off of Endgame, it was just like the perfect way for them to go off of a movie that was so crazy like Endgame. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It ranks up there. I love Far From Home. I love that it included um, Maria Hill,
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury, Maria Hill, right? I got that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Fury and one of our past guests, Tyler Dean. He posted it on social media somewhere, and he goes, "Oh man, I saw Far From Home. I think I got a crush on Maria Hill." And then somebody commented, "Did you never watch?" So how'd you met? I can't even say the name of the
How
I Met Your
How I
Mother.
Met Your Mother. They're like, "You're missing out." He's like, "No, I didn't see that." It's like, "Oh, you're missing out."
She's got a new show coming on.
Yeah,
Channel.
yeah, on
Looks good.
yeah,
It's CBS.
Yeah, I think it's CBS. But so I sent him a GIF or GIF or however you want to say it of her as in How I Met Your Mother. When they find out that she was a teenage pop star in Canada. So I sent him a GIF of that. I was like, "See, here you go." It's funny. But yeah, so everybody that they included, it didn't feel like they stuck anybody in there that didn't belong. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They all had some part to play.
Yeah. Even Aunt May was wonderful.
Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, which you guys don't watch Silicon Valley, but he's the teacher.
Oh god, the teachers were hilarious. Him and JB Smoove or whatever.
Yeah, JB Smoove's good. And he plays such an opposite character on Silicon Valley that it's hard to kind of watch him in other stuff. But he does a really good job in it.
When GOG was on there.
Love GOG. Oh my goodness. Such an integral role to the plot. I mean, you couldn't have a movie without GOG.
Yeah, which leads us to our next, last segment of the day. If Catron is ready for this, please be ready for this because I don't want to go back and edit out every time I say, "Hey, Catron's going to tell us a story." It's story time with Catron where he tells us the story of Spider-Man Far From Home. Cue the dramatic music. I probably won't put dramatic music in there because I always have to
turn around. The good see.
That's all we can afford. Stop.
Yeah, don't finish the song because then we can't get money from this. So,
so would you like to tell us what you think or your version of the story? It doesn't have to be long, but
yeah, it won't be. It'll be wrong probably. I don't know. It could be right. Who knows? But
it happened.
The problem is you've talked about it a lot in the episode.
But we haven't given any spoilers. I don't think. Right, Chris?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. All right. Well, our story starts off with the mild-mannered Peter Parker.
Tobey Maguire. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Peter Parker as he's getting ready to go on his class trip that is 5 years past his other friends that didn't disappear in the events that happened in Endgame. So it's really weird because he's still young, but they're older, and it's just they're whatever. Nobody cares, but apparently they are. So they go on this big trip, which is far from their home. If I recall, they're going to France or somewhere like that, to Europe, I guess is what it was. And when they're there, all this craziness happens, and it turns out that it's I about said Rey Mysterio.
Oh, no, say that. That's fine.
It's Rey Mysterio,
It's
the
Rey
wrestler.
Mysterio.
No, it's Mysterio. I know the difference. I just want to say Rey Mysterio for some reason. But Mysterio is there, and he, from the trailer, you think a couple of different things. You're like, okay, that's been a bad guy, but then it looks like they're fighting with alongside of each other. So what happens is it's an illusion because he's an illusionist, and he makes all this stuff happen while they're there, and all these big battles, and it's like, we're going to be friends, we're going to do all this stuff together, and I'm going to be, as you said earlier, he was trying to find his mentor. He has this moment when he's crying beside the mural of Iron Man, that after Iron Man passed, and
what?
Again, if you haven't seen Endgame, then shame on you. But he's trying to find his way back home, and trying to find like you said, a mentor. And he kind of falls in love. Not in love. That's not what I meant.
He falls in love with Rey Mysterio?
With Rey Mysterio. With Mysterio. They hang out. He shows him his face. He's like, I don't always wear this big ball thing over my head. But they fight the big monster. I saw a picture of it, but I don't remember what it was. Some kind of water thing or something, maybe. I don't know. Something. Lava or Molten Man or something. I don't know. But they fight and help each other. But then he figures out that this was all just a big ruse.
Oh, ruse, yes.
And none of this actually happened.
Interesting.
And they never actually went to France.
Sorry.
Or Europe.
Where did they go?
I don't know. It was all it was
the dream.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, but yeah, he made it. He tried to convince him that they could be friends, and he was wrong.
My buddy.
And that I don't know.
Tell us about his best friend. What all happens to him in the movie?
His best friend. Are you talking about the high school best friend?
Yeah, high school best friend. What does he do?
What happens to him?
What's he do? What's his like? Why is he in the movie? What's he doing on the trip?
I mean, they're just best friends. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know if he had a side story or anything.
I don't. He might. Apparently, there is a side story. His side story is that he was
I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying I want you to tell me.
Entertainer in the circus and traveled. But I mean, I don't know that that's really important to this story. But if you really want
to flying Graysons,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. So what about we've seen Nick Fury in the trailers. What do you tell us about his role in this movie?
Well, Nick Fury of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Very good.
is trying to find Peter, because he heard he went to France, but again they didn't really go, so he goes to France looking for him, to Europe, and he's trying to find him because he's trying to warn him about Mysterio, and he doesn't find him until the end, and all this happened.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but who else is in this movie?
You forgot to tell about the Happy Hogan, like a very important part of the movie that you forgot.
So the Hogan family was on this movie as well, and they called the main character from that show Happy Hogan, and he was there to be the tour guide while they were in France, and
then he ends up in a Nazi camp with other.
What year is this?
War heroes.
That's Hogan's Heroes.
They try and
escape. I thought it was
Hulk
Hogan's family.
No, Hogan family from the 80s. Come on. Remember? Yeah, I don't know who that is. So.
Happy Hogan is. I mean, it's not Swirl. Happy Hogan is
John Favreau.
He plays Tony Stark's like not
go-to guy, second
go-to guy.
Okay.
man
So
type
yeah,
guy.
he was yeah. So he was also trying to help Nick Fury find Spider-Man, find Peter Parker, and say it's okay. It's going to be okay. We'll make
How about
this work.
why don't you talk about all the you know what I'm talking about, all the love parts in the movie, all the people falling in love, and
I mean, they're in the city of love.
Yeah.
That's the first part of this movie, and is that France? Is the city of that's a country, right? And they're in the country of love, in the city of love, Paris, France, and there's lots of action going on, but it is a family type movie, so they didn't get into all that. But his love interest MJ, which is not Mary Jane, is I don't know her real name. I just know it's MJ. But
Michelle something, I think.
Yeah. But they are on this adventure together, and they
This is the best. This is the best. We do this every time.
No, it's terrible.
I love it.
The problem is I don't know the stories as well as you think I do.
That's what makes it better. When you call him Rey Mysterio, that's the greatest thing ever. So how's it end? How's the movie end?
How does the movie end? Well, again, like I said, this whole thing, everything that happened didn't really happen because Mysterio was just making it all up. He had the special effects and things that made you believe that this was all happening, and it turns out that they never left. And
Bob Newhart wakes up in his bed.
I thought Tony Stark wakes up in his bed. Well, that's what happened. It was all a dream.
All a dream.
That is weird. Dream, Pepper.
Yeah. And it's like nothing ever happened except that he's there, and he being Mysterio with Peter Parker, and he captures him. And sets up for the next movie.
Just like the Matrix, sort of. Peter Parker just doesn't know what's going on. He's in the Matrix.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. And
who is your least favorite character of the movie?
Oh, what was that guy's name? Oh, he was that kid that he kept coming in and just saying, Spider-Man, and he says, but I'm not Spider-Man. And he had these lines.
Spider-Man.
Oh no, you're Spider-Man. Friend. Whatever that kid's name, I think it was Billy or something.
Little redneck kid came in.
Yeah.
What was his name, Chris? Do you remember his name?
Gog.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Why do they call it? The microphone attacked me.
He's so excited about this movie, his microphone just fell off his stand. That was great. I really loved that.
I hope so.
Can you to end it all, can you tell us about the end credit scenes?
Oh,
because that's what everybody wants to know.
It was what everybody wanted to know. So don't go to YouTube and watch them.
No, Catron's going to tell you right here.
I'll tell you right here what happens. There were two. The first one was where they were talking about another trip that's not so far from home, but they were going to go to California and
wine country.
Go to wine country, and that's actually where the Fantastic Four have been hiding out
in wine country.
Yeah, and somehow Doctor Doom, he finds them, and Spider-Man comes to the rescue. And when they take this trip, that's not so far from home, over to wine country. So, and it sets it up for.
So that was the first end credits.
So that was the first one. I mean, that's like, whoa.
Yeah.
What's happening? The second credits was it was actually before Endgame.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason, I mean, it just it blew my mind. I was like, what, you know? And it's like, it's and it's just Peter Parker like just floating around in this weird goo, and you're like, what is this? And it turns out that this is where he was for 5 years before he got snapped back. And it was like, oh. Everybody said that at the same time. They said, oh. And it all made sense. So.
And that's why Spider-Man Far From Home is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time.
Probably not.
Thank you. A round of applause for Mr. K.
Bravo.
Yeah, that was
great.
I loved it.
Bellissimo.
Would you how spot on do you think was he, Chris?
It was like it was like I was watching the movie all over again.
I was like, I had some tissue just
there.
ready. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, especially when God came in, like I was.
Well,
great.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, remind me. I gotta tell you something. I don't want to spoil it for anybody after this is over. I don't want to spoil it for Catron, but something funny about the movie. A hashtag that was going around for a little while. Anyways, that was fun. I know you felt uncomfortable.
Yes. Not a good story.
Did we all?
But that made my night. I thought it was funny.
Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm going to promote that story. Is like, stay tuned because you don't want to miss the story.
Oh, God.
Listen, just if you have to skip ahead, just listen to the story because
put that out in snippets.
I may headline this one. I may make a headliner to put it on.
So when we were in college, I would tell stories, and this is me telling a story right now, and it would end. The story would end, and people would be like, "That's a good story," and it was terrible because it was like it just didn't end well, or it didn't like have a good ending, and like I didn't tell it correctly, and like right now I'm not doing it well. Good job. I'm like, oh, good story, It's like, thanks. I'm wrong. So.
Now I can't wait for you to watch the movie.
See how right I was.
And see how right you were.
Yeah.
There was, in your story there was a little
elements of truth.
Minor spoiler, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it's every great lie, there is a kernel of truth.
We're not going to tell you what it is or what it was.
Oh,
you have to
I'm
go see
sure
the movie to watch it, and then you'll be like, Catron was right.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
No.
I want a t-shirt that has Rey Mysterio as Mysterio. I don't know how you would do that. Somebody made a Mysterio costume, and it's ridiculous. It's like they're doing the series. Marvel's doing the series, Making Marvel or something like that on YouTube. And people like cosplayers are making the costumes, and somebody made it, and the globe actually he's got smoke in it and everything. And he described how he made the whole costume, but he never described how he sees and how he breathes in the stain. And I'm like, that's what everybody wants to know. Like, how do you breathe in a smoke-filled fishbowl? It was sweet though. It looked really cool. Jake Gyllenhaal never wore the actual fish globe.
No, that's all CG.
All CGI.
CG.
CG. That's how
CG.
that's how the pros say it.
That's right.
CG.
Is that right?
Oh yeah, that's exactly how it's done. CG.
Well, this has been episode 110 of I'm Geek. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun listening. If If you don't have anything else, guys, do you have anything else? Can you give us one Spider-Man to go? Spider-Man?
Hey, Spider-Man. Hey, why is it Spider-Man that you always shoot those webs?
I love GOG.
Oh, GOG. Anyways, have a great week, everybody, and we will talk with you next week. Thanks for joining us. I hope you had a blast. Make sure follow us on Twitter at I Am Geek Show. Follow us on Facebook. Look up I Am Group. We'll add you. Just fill out the question or something like that. We're on YouTube now, so check that out. If you type in I Am Geek Show, you'll find us on YouTube because all the episodes are going to YouTube now. Leave us comments, reviews, 5 stars, all that stuff. We love it when you guys do that. Thank you. And share I Am Geek with a friend, with a coworker, or with your enemy. Because, hey, we're all
Everybody
geeks,
likes to laugh.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk to you next time on I Am Geek. Good night, everybody.